apartment insurance. So, hurry up with that, D-Medic. Okay, so he's an example, and I'm looking forward to every single one of you who's watching this right now on YouTube. Dig deep into those wallets. And don't let yourself be intimidated by your conscience that says no. Know that it's the right thing to do, that you'll be funding Torah Talks. By funding Torah Talks, you're going to be a Torah Talks partner. You're going to become part of the Torah.
And when you submit questions, we'll take them much more seriously.
Oh, yes. D-Medic can ask anything he wants at this point, you know.
Exactly.
You know,
and we'll like hop right to it. It's like,
you know, right.
Oh, there's our sponsor asking a question.
I know,
D-Medic, like there's the boss in the chat room.
I know, it's like D-Medic could say, like, you know, what color toilet paper and I have, and I'm like, drop everything, like, close the books, and we'll talk about it, you know. Because, you know, D-Medic is paying for the damn show, okay? You're all a bunch of freeloaders, thanks to D-Medic. Okay, come on, we don't do welfare here. You know, it's not like one guy works and everybody else just schluffs, right? Yep, you know, dig deep in your wallets, folks. Okay, so that's that. Now, you want to talk about any current events between now and last week?
Who do you favor for the Republican nomination for 2012?
You want to talk about that? Because I wrote down one.
Okay.
I wrote down one topic.
So I favor Chris Christie and Paul Ryan, neither of whom are in the race. Right?
And I'm favoring
Alan West.
Alan West, who's also not in the race. So that's the problem with the Republicans. Right there is the problem. The best people, for some reason, are not the ones running. This kind of scares me. I want to be honest. It scares me that the good people are not running. I shouldn't say that. There's a couple of candidates who are running who I won't say are bad people, but the best people have not entered the race. What is going on over there?
Well, I mean, think of how many lousy Republican nominees we had. I mean, John McCain was horrible. Bob Dole was horrible.
Oh my God, you knew that he was going to lose before it started.
I think George Bush was a failure because, let's be honest, invading Iraq was a bad idea, in retrospect, and invading Afghanistan. Like, both of them sucked up a lot of resources, and those are invading Iraq was the riskiest move by an American president in 100 years. And it turned out to be a mistake. So I think George Bush turned out to be a bad president.
I don't think it was a mistake.
Really?
I'm proud of him for going into... I like Bush for that reason. I think going to Iraq and getting rid of Saddam Hussein was the right thing to do. And I applaud him for that. Saddam Hussein was a sworn enemy. He was tantamount to the Adolf Hitler of his time. And he was a... He was a terrorist against the Jewish people in the state of Israel, and he threatened to annihilate, and he promised that he would annihilate the Jews in the state of Israel. And we've learned the hard way as Jewish people that we must take crazy fucking tyrants at their word when they threaten to annihilate us. So thank God that President Bush had the balls and went ahead and got rid of that son of a bitch. So I applaud President Bush for that. And, you know, I don't care what else he did. I really don't fucking care. Just that alone, he'll be remembered in Jewish history as a hero.
Okay, I want to stay neutral. It seems to me at this point that invading Iraq and invading Afghanistan were mistakes, but I'd rather stay neutral.
Now, there were three objectives I felt when they went into Iraq that I felt needed to be met. One was capture Saddam Hussein, put him on trial, which they did. They found him guilty, and they hung him. Beautiful. One was find Michael Streicher. I don't know if you know who he is. But in the first war, they couldn't find him. He was taken captured in the first war, and we want him back. Because people felt like he's still in prison from the first war, and they found his remains. I don't know what that means, but they did that. And the third one was confiscate all the fucking WMDs, destroy them or whatever, so that they don't end up, like when the U.S. troops leave, they don't end up in the hands of whatever comes next.
Right.
And they did fine, because they left and there were no WMDs. So as far as I'm concerned, mission accomplished. They did everything they were supposed to do. The problem was that they got all of that done, right, and put to bed by the end of 2003. They should have left.
Yeah.
The problem wasn't going to Iraq. The problem was no exit strategy.
Yeah, trying to build a nation.
Yeah, that wasn't what...
You're not subsidizing it without billions.
Yeah, that was not what I would have been much happier. Go in there, kill the guy, destroy the bombs, and leave, and whatever happens, happens. I would have been much happier that way, and that was like as far as I would agree with it on. I actually preferred send the Mossad or the CIA or the Navy SEALs in before we even went in. I was saying,
yeah, just take out a...
Go capture these guys. Yeah. Do whatever, but, save us the trouble of having to send the troops in. And, people didn't want to go for that. Whatever. Okay, so you're sending the troops in. Fine, right? Get them out of there. That was the problem. We should have been out of there 8 years ago. Right? That, to me, was the problem. It wasn't going there. It was that we couldn't get out. Afghanistan wasn't a problem, in my It was like we just had 9/11, right?
Well, how many hundreds of billions are you cool with spending on Afghanistan?
Let me ask you the question the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
How many 9/11s are you willing to tolerate before you spend shitloads of money? How many of those can you
Okay, so I think 9/11 cost us about $1 trillion. All told, it cost us about $1 trillion.
That's right. That's the damage that was done that day.
Right.
It was catastrophic damage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's a Mamonov shock. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If the U.S. didn't do anything,
yeah,
what would that lead to? We'd have a 9/11 every fucking day.
Or we'd boost up our security, and I think we should run our airline security purely on the basis of security, not on the basis of politics or political correctness. If we ran our airports the way Israel runs its airports, looking for suspicious behavior,
right?
We would be much less likely to have more 9/11s. But instead, we're body searching grandmas and 8-year-olds, and we're letting people in, Islamic garb, go by without any extra scrutiny. So, that's just crazy.
Right. D-Medic pointed out a thing that we talked about it on my page in Facebook. That when it comes to Iraq,
mm-hmm.
the guy you got to hate here is the first Bush. That's the guy who I can't stand. Because he walked away with the job half-assed done. Right? He was one day away from going into Baghdad. They could have kicked out Saddam and ended this whole nightmare back in 1991.
Yeah.
That's the guy you should blame. They could have walked out and they wouldn't have had to rebuild the country. It would have all happened automatically. Because those people at the time were behind us. The average citizen on the street in Iraq was behind the U.S. back then. Not like now. We should have just went in there and finished the job in 1991. So I blame Bush Sr., who I don't like. That's a guy I don't like. If you ever say to me, you don't like Bush Sr., I'm right there behind you. The guy was an asshole to the state of Israel, and he was an asshole in Iraq. I blame him for a lot. I don't like that president.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Okay, so I'm saying that and that's why he lost in 92. I didn't vote for him in 92.
You voted for Clinton?
Nope, Ross Perot.
Really?
Yeah. I voted for Perot in 92 and 96. In 2000, I voted for the Libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2004, I came over to the Republicans and voted for Bush because we were in the middle of the war.
Yeah.
And I felt they were the only party candidate. It was the only candidate on the ballot of the 8 people who was behind the war. And I felt the war was the most important thing. Let's continue this thing. Let's win this fucking thing, right? So I voted for Bush in 2004, and then based on that, I also voted for McCain in 2008. And I don't even need that aspect. 2012, I don't care anymore who you guys pick. I'm voting for it. I gotta get Obama out of there. He's the worst fucking nightmare this country's ever had. Get him out of there. Just get him out. I don't care. You guys can run a toaster or oven against him. I will vote for it for president. I am happy with that. I would vote for
Hillary Clinton.
I would vote for Hillary. No, she's almost as bad.
She's almost as bad. Yeah.
But she's not as bad.
Yeah.
I would vote for Dennis Prager.
Right.
Before I would vote for. Yeah.
Okay, what was the news item you want to talk about?
I was going to talk about Santa Monica.
Okay, great.
Wow, they disappointed me. I take this personally because I went there last Sunday night, and I gave that town money because we parked there in the public lot and we went on their